Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be sharing with you my January wrap up, so please stay tuned. And I am back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So like I said, I'll be sharing with you my January wrap up, and I read a total of 5 books in January. So the first book that I want to share with you is Bridgerton, the Duke and I by Julia Quinn. Now for this, I did pretty much a vlog of me reading this book and providing my first thoughts and reactions while reading it, and also comparing and contrasting amongst this book and with the Netflix TV series that everybody just loves, and there's been a lot of people watching it, like millions of people. So it's really a big hit on Netflix, and I really loved the book, but I also love the TV series just a little bit more due to the fact of the diversity. There's not really diversity in this book. There's a lot of things that are not mentioned in this book, but you'll have to see what I thought of this book with my reading vlog, which I'll leave up above, so you get my first reactions to everything and what I really love the most about the series and the book itself. This next book that I want to share with you, I had done my review about it because I loved it that much, and this is also a book that you could read for the Black Author Readathon, which I am one of the hosts for the Readathon, and that is Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. This came out in January, and this is her debut book. So like I said, I did a whole review about this book. I will leave that link up above. But if you are participating in the Black Author Readathon, this is definitely a recommendation that I think you would love to read. It's pretty much like a group of friends pretty much getting together. I would say this could be one of the prompts where new to you, Black author. It could be friends to lovers. There's a lot of prompts that you could do for this book, but those are just 2 of them that I think would fall in place for those prompts on the bingo board for the Black Author Readathon. But like I said before, I will leave the video up above of my review for this amazing book. This next book that I really enjoyed, and this is also a debut book, and that is Wings of Ebony by J.L. Now, this book came out also, I believe, also in January, and this is one of my anticipated reads of 2021. And I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the book. I loved Rue. I love the character, and what this book is pretty much about is about Rue, who lost her mom at the very beginning of the book, but it goes back and forth from the past and the future, and she pretty much is going to a world where I would like to say, like an example of the world, it's called Gazan, but in a way it's mostly like Wakanda from the Black Panther, because this is a world where no one else knows about except her father, and the people that live in that world called Gazan, or land Gazan, which is in Africa, which that's why I always compare it to Wakanda, because it's really secluded. Only a certain amount of people know about this land. And so with Rue, she's also separated from her little sister, they do not share the same dads. So as she goes to this land, she's pretty much with her father. And she, as you know, as a normal person, not having their father in their life, they really just don't really care. They don't want to have nothing to do with their dad. And that's how pretty much her attitude is throughout the book until the end. And then you have her sister who has a different father, and she's pretty much being raised by CPS, which is Child Protective Services, and then she's with a family. But one day, Rue decides to break the rules and go visit her in the normal world, which her location is in Houston, Texas. And for that, as she travels, that's one of the rules that she cannot do. She cannot go and visit or go outside of Gazan, which she does so anyway because she has her sister she wants to take care of, make sure she's okay. Next thing you know, she sees her sister sister sees her, and her sister wants to interact with her and everything. And then also Rue breaks another rule. She let her sister touch her, which shows her everything, all the memories that Rue has experienced, everything, all her locations she has been to, just everything. And that's also definitely the #1 rule you cannot break in Gazan. So right as she breaks this rule and she uses magic, which is in Gazan, people have magic. They're considered like gods and goddesses in a sense. But they have these magic powers, and with that, as she uses her powers when she visits her sister, which her sister's name is Tasha, right away the people of Gazan notice and realize that magic has been used, and they are sent to get her, which are pretty much like the cops of Gazan. And throughout the whole entire book, And as she travels back and forth to Kazan and the real world and the normal world, she notices that there's something going on in her neighborhood, her hood neighborhood, she likes to call it, and people are selling drugs on the streets, and they're taking kids out of high school and killing kids too on top of that. And she realizes the person that is involved with this is the general from Kazan. But what the one that gets me the most is people in Kazan are just black. They're complete black, and the general, we finally realize that he's just not that. They actually tan him up and make him a certain color that fits the Kazan description of a person that lives in Kazan in order to be part of the world. But in reality, he's actually white, and he's a racist on top of that. When he goes to the normal world in Houston, Texas, he calls them the N-words. He says, you know, I'm racist, I don't like black people, what have you. He's really blatant, and it surprised Rue at knowing this. Now, I don't want to get much into it, but there's a lot of things and a lot of descriptions I don't want to bring up because I don't want to spoil that for you. But I definitely gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It would have been a 5-star for me if there were just certain things that could have been done, as far as possibly not having so much of flashbacks, maybe starting from, you know, when her mother dies on to when her dad takes her and stuff like that, instead of going back and forth of where Rue was and during this time, and her mom raising her and everything like that. I feel like that should just been in the beginning, and it just goes orderly, like an orderly type of way, instead of going back and forth. But other than that, I really love the book. 4 out of 5 stars, and I definitely recommend it if you do want to read this. But I love it. It had the premise of, you know, since the main character's name is Rue, you have the Hunger Games in your mind and everything like that. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for Wings of Ebony by JL. This next book, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and this is written in verse, and that is Chlorine Sky, and that is by Mahogany L. Brown. Like I said, I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. It really was a fast read. I read it in a day, and it was really great. It pretty much is, the premise of this book is finding yourself and being comfortable with yourself and realizing that you are enough. You don't have to change for no one. You have to be comfortable with yourself, and no one can tell you otherwise on how you should live, how you should dress, how you should look, nothing like that. And so this girl, the main character's girl name is Sky, and she has a friend called Laylee, and they hang out, but Laylee always gives her tips on what she needs to wear, how she should look, if she wants to get a boyfriend, and what have you. But then they soon have a falling out, and this is something that I personally have experienced, where you grew up with a person and they're your best friend, but then as you get older, you grow apart, and that has happened to me. And, you know, I wish certain things, you know, didn't happen, but it happened for a reason, and there's nothing I could do about it. And so, excuse me, and so with Sky and Laylee, they have a fallout because Laylee feels like Sky is not supportive, which Sky is nothing but supportive. She always protects Laylee. She always has Laylee's back, but then Laylee doesn't return the favor. Laylee doesn't help her with anything. She let her friends, let Laylee's friends she just lets her friends talk about her best friend Sky right in front of her face, does not say anything, does not defend her. And so they have a falling out, but soon she finds a friend that actually likes her for who she is and doesn't try to change her. And for that, I really do enjoy, and I love the premise of this book. Like I said, a 5 out of 5 stars, because this is a book that I feel like anyone should read, especially a young person, a young adult, you know, 12 and up. I think this is a book that will help you with confidence in yourself. And, you know, during that age group, you know, you feel like, oh, I need to do this to have friends, I need to change that, I need to change my hairstyle, I need to have this type of complexion. No, you are good enough the way you are, and I really enjoy this book so much. So a 5 out of 5 stars for Mahogany L. Brown, and like I said, I do recommend reading it. It is a fast read if you want to read this, but like I said, a great book. And last but not least, this is another one of my anticipated reads. I have pre-ordered this book and got it signed by one of my favorite authors, who has written about the book and has had a movie, and has also had her sophomore book, and it's going to have another movie. So this is her 3rd book, and I am so excited that I read this book, and that is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. So as you all know or may not know, this is a book following Maverick, which is Star's dad, and this is his life prior to Star being born. So in this book, we pretty much know Maverick, but we know much of his background, and he is part of of a gang, which is called the King Lords. which I believe that is. And then also for that, yeah, King Lords. I forgot for a second, but yes, the King Lords. And his dad was a King Lord, but he is now in prison for life. And what Maverick goes through is trying to decide what he wants to do and what he wants to do with his life and the choices that he has to make. And so one premise is he pretty much goes into a place where he has to take a paternity test, and he realizes that he does have a son. And he thought that he wasn't a dad and that wasn't his son, but he really was. And so he took on this responsibility, which I love. I love this book of the representation of Black fathers. You know, there's a stereotype of Black fathers are mostly deadbeats and don't want to be in their children's lives. But this book does not have that stereotype at all. Maverick actually steps up to the plate when he realizes that he is a father and that he has a baby, a 3-month-old to take care of. He steps up. He doesn't go out anymore with his friends. He constantly stays home and, you know, takes care of him day and night, also going to school. But on top of that, his cousin, Andre, convinces him to no longer be part of the King Lords and do something else with his life that is more productive. And so Maverick he gets a job at one of the local grocery stores, and he actually learns a few things from the owner of the grocery store, and the owner's wife actually looks after his son while he's at work. But then one day when he's home and he's not at work, his cousin comes over, Andre, and they hang out, and Andre realizes that, you know what, you're doing an amazing job. He's giving him his props, but soon, right after, when Maverick goes, checks on his son, whose name is Seven. Originally, it was King Jr., because he thought that was his best friend's, kid, and that's what the girl thought who his father was. But he renames his son Seven. So as he goes to go back in the house and check on Seven, his cousin is shot in the head, and they don't know who it is. And so Maverick is confused, doesn't know what he's doing and everything like that. And on top of that, he has a girlfriend named Lisa, who doesn't know that he's a kid yet until later on, and she's upset. But soon they come back together during the funeral of his cousin Andre. And when you're vulnerable and you're going through loss and everything, you're just like, I want to feel something else. I don't want to feel this way. And so of course they had sex unprotected, and she does end up being pregnant, of course, as we all know, due to the hate you give. And he really just doesn't believe it, but he will take on the responsibility. But he still, as he's mourning for the death of his cousin, he wants to find out who had done that, and he actually finds out who kills his cousin. But he was seeking vengeance, but instead he turned the other cheek and just went his way, because he really felt like the bigger picture is taking care of his son and his daughter that is going to be born in the next months or so. So I love this book. Like I said, I love, like, it doesn't go about the stereotype of this Black fathers are deadbeats. I love that. I love this book. I loved it. It was fast paced. It was nothing good. Everything good about this book is there's ways of getting out of bad situations. It's just you have to make the right choices. So a 5 out of 5 stars for this book. I definitely recommend it. I even hope that this becomes a movie, just like her other 2 books that she has released. So looking forward to seeing what she does with this book. But like I said, a 5 out of 5 stars, and I definitely recommend it for those who love Angie Thomas and The Hate U Give. But these are the 5 books I have read in total for the month of January. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya!